Good morning, everybody. Hello. How are you all doing today? Thank you for being patient. I may have left my sewing to the last minute. I might have just whipped this little block up this morning. I did all my cutting yesterday and instructions, but I just sewed it up this morning, which leads me to my tip of the day. I guess I should welcome you all first. Good morning and welcome, everybody. This is our Mystery Summer Sampler, even if summer has abruptly come to an end here in my city of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I'll bet you still have summer if you're a little bit further south. Even west or east of us seems to be doing better, but we suddenly have winter. Maybe it's going to go back to fall if we're lucky. So anyways, for the past 10 weeks, we have been doing various block patterns, which you can see on display behind me. We've been using the really versatile guidelines for quilting rulers with the finished size quilting add-ons, and we are at block 10 this week. I am calling it a winged pinwheel, and you can see that we've got a pinwheel in the center there, and then it's got those little wings with some nice accent corners. So I quite like this one. I've just been working my way through a set of blocks that comes in a little booklet with the guidelines for quilting's rulers. So I kind of been taking their ideas and just showing you tutorials on how to put all these blocks together using those rulers. So you can find our prior videos if you're just joining us. You can find those prior videos at sparrowquiltco.com. We've got them on YouTube. We've got them here on the Facebook page, and we do this series every Wednesday morning at 10:30, maybe 10:45. Once or twice. It's been a little bit late, but once we wrap this up, we're going to go up to 12 blocks, and then we are going to do another mystery sampler after this one as well. So I'm looking forward to that because that one is actually one of my favorite quilts. But it's a mystery, so you can't see it just yet. If you have any questions or you want to share your progress, I encourage you to join our Facebook group. It's called Sparrow Quilt Co Daily, and that is where all our viewers will, share their photos, talk about their fabrics, ask questions, and it's just a nice little community. It's really fun and entertaining to tune in and see what everybody's been up to. And it kind of gives you a more direct line of contact with us if that's what you desire. We also love to share your photos. So if you are sending them to us in the Sparrow Quilt Co Daily group, we may feature your photo on our business page as well or on our Instagram. And you can also email those photos to us at info@sparrowquiltco.com, and we would love to share them because we're assuming if you share that you are willing to share with us. Now, I must explain, this morning, all the girls brought all kinds of sugary treats. Sheila brought a most delicious apple cobbler, with a big chunky brown sugary oatmeal-y crust. It was delicious. And then Tara, one of my local friends who comes and rents, brought a banana loaf. So I'm already an ADD hyperactive child this morning because I've had just like a big bowl full of sugar. So if my hummingbird brain seems worse than usual today, that's probably why. Let's go ahead and get started, okay? You should have already received your PDF pattern by email. If you've not signed up for this yet, then please visit us at the link above this video or visit us at sparrowquiltco.com. You can put in your name and email address, and we'll send you all the PDF patterns to get you caught up to date with all the different patterns that we have done. We are going to need 4 fabrics today, and as usual, I am mixing up my fabrics. I'm going to go with a slightly different colorway than what you see here on the table. So I like to make a little note beside each fabric selection so that I know exactly what I'm cutting. As I said earlier, I have a tip of the day. I usually try to share some little bit of advice or wisdom on each of these days, and today it's kind of a kick in my own pants type of advice. So you may have heard a story from me about a quilt I made a long time ago. It's a Bargello and lots of tiny little pieces. At the midway point of making that quilt, I switched machines. I got a new machine, so of course I switched and started using that. And the 1/4 inch difference between the two machines made a big, big difference over the width of a queen size quilt. And I ended up having a quilt that was 96 across the top, 96 across the bottom, and like 92 through the center. So that is a significant difference, guys. That is 4 inches. So my quilt was kind of hourglass shaped, Anyways, long story short, you would think I would have learned my lesson from that, but no, I got a brand new Eversewn Sparrow 30 the other day. And so, you know, bust that baby open. It's a gorgeous little blush colored machine with rose gold accents, and I had to start sewing on it. Well, if you've been watching all along, you know that I typically sew on my old Janome. She's a real workhorse, that old girl. Janome 6500. I love that machine. It was the first machine I ever bought for myself. Anyways, I get sewing this morning, guys, and sure enough, my seam allowance on this machine is a little bit fatter than what I've been using on the other one. So you can see when you look at my block closely, it's tiny little bit hourglass shaped. And that's because when I pieced all my half square triangles, the seam allowance is a little bit wider. So I quickly saw what was happening there, and I moved my needle position. We're able to do that with this nice little Sparrow 30. I moved my needle position 2 threads to the right, and that quickly fixed up my seam allowance. But it is pulling just a wee bit in the center, and some of my other seam allowances around the center are a little bit on the scant side, like more than scant even, just to try and make up for that little bit of variance. But that's the way it goes sometimes. I've learned my lesson again, and hopefully I can figure out to never switch machines mid-project ever again. I'm sure I'll tell you a story similar to this again when I'm in my 50s, when I have had a hummingbird brain moment and jumped in with excitement into a brand new machine. Oh, Laura, yeah, there's some pretty stuff behind me. I'm so excited. One of my very favorite Facebook friends, I just adore her, has closed down a quilt shop a couple of years ago, and she is trying to clear out some of her stash, we're going to call it, in an effort to, you know, downsize and minimize and declutter and that sort of thing. We can only hold on to these earthly possessions for so long is really what it comes down to. So I bought a whole slew of it off of her. It's all Moda, and I'm going to show you some of it in a little bit, but let's do what we're here for first, all right? But yeah, there's some beautiful stuff. There might be some in auction this weekend. Just might be. All right, so these are my 4 fabrics that I've chosen. I've got my dark pink, my green, and my blue dot. I'm going to use the green as my center pinwheel, and I've advised you guys in the past, make sure you're cutting your triangles first because the width of those is going to be slightly wider, and then when you go to cut squares, you can narrow that down. So always cut your widest pieces first, and then you can trim those wide pieces down, but you can't make those small pieces bigger. Cannot make those small pieces bigger. You can stitch them back together and make it work. In fact, I've done that many's a time. But ideally, if we can cut big and then trim down, it's better. So we are going to be cutting 2 squares at the 3-inch marking. So here's how I got the 3-inch number. I looked at my block. I've got 4 columns. I know I want my block to be 12 inches wide. So each column is going to be 3 inches because 4 3s makes a 12-inch block. So I'm going to set my guidelines ruler at 3 inches. I got the little slider on there that shifts from right to left. I'm just going to pop it into place on the 3-inch line. And then I'm going to get my finished size quilting ruler add-on in the half square triangle. And I know it's for half square triangles because it's got a little H on it. And my seam allowance add-on is 0.854. So that's the one we're looking for if you are using the finished size add-on rulers. If you don't have those, don't worry, the directions are brackets for your regular rulers, okay? Oh, the Sparrow 30, I'm not sure how much it weighs, but it is light. It is really, really light. Absolutely, it's suitable for traveling. It's really light, like it's really your ideal classroom machine. I don't know what it weighs, but we'll check on the box in a couple of minutes. Whomever is asking how much the Sparrow 30 weighs, we'll check on the box and see if we can get a weight for you. They almost always have a shipping weight on them. Oh, I'm sorry, Pam. The rows, there's 4 columns and 4 rows. 4 columns and 4 rows, each at 3 inches to create a 12-inch block. Sometimes words fly out of my mouth that I didn't mean to come out of my mouth. Okay, so like I said, I've got my slider set at 3. I've got my half square triangle ruler add-on, and now I'm going to cut my strip at this width. So once I do that, I'm going to turn my strip sideways, and I'm going to cut off that selvage because we don't want selvage in our quilts. Sorry, some of us don't want selvage in our quilts. Lots of us do want selvage in our quilts. You can make some pretty cool stuff out of selvage, but not today, not for this project. So I'm going to cross cut 2 squares off of that strip. I only need 2 squares of this fabric. Then I'm going to turn it on the diagonal, and I'm going to cut from corner to corner on the diagonal line. I'm just going to do this once because these are half square triangles. And that's going to get me 4 half square triangle units for the center pinwheel of my block. Okay, I'm now done with my greens, so let's put that away. Next, I need my blue. That's what I'm going to do for the wings. These little guys out here, I'm going to use blue for my wings on my winged pinwheel, and I'm cutting the same size again. That is such a romantic looking line. It is called printemps, and I might not be saying that correctly, but it's spring in French, and it's by 3 sisters. And when I look at any of their fabrics, I just think romance because they just are so shabby chic. It's lovely. All right, so again, these squares, I'm cutting the same size as the last ones. I've got my slider lined up on the 3-inch mark. I've got my half square triangle ruler added on, and I'm going to cut my strip at that width. I only need to cut these 2 squares out of this fabric. Sometimes when your fabric is folded in half off the bolt, you'll see that one selvage edge is much lower than the other. Like you can see the difference in the height there. So I'll just unfold that and bring my selvages so that they are flush with each other. I know my line at the other end won't fall neatly anymore. I'll kind of have to force it. But this is going to give me sometimes as much as a 3/4 of an inch back on my fabric. Why chop off more than I need to? I mean, I realize fabric is not gold, but they're not giving this stuff away. My goodness, you guys. I totally forgot to ask you to share the video, so don't forget to share the video. I always give away during my Wednesday sampler videos a set of the finished size quilting rulers. I'm going to send you an add-on set for your regular 6x12 ruler at home, and it comes with silicone suction cups, or I don't know if they're silicone, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. I know that they're suction cups, and so that will adhere to your regular ruler at home. We don't need these special little levers that makes them attached to the guidelines rulers. So in order to qualify for that prize, I'm going to ask you to share this video and then come back and comment that you shared, and that makes it really easy for us to find you so that we can give you a prize in the end. You want to be easy to find if you're going to win a prize. So Cheryl Ann is asking what ruler I'm using. Cheryl Ann, this is the Guidelines for Quilting ruler, and it measures 6x12, but it's got a really unique feature, or a couple of really unique features, in fact. Just let me cut. I'm not good at talking and cutting. All right. So we've got a typical 6x12-inch ruler, but it's made of like an indestructible material. I know, and I'm so sorry. The people that make this ruler must just think I'm a flake. Let's see if I can find it on here. Anyways, I'm not going to find the name of it, but it is the same material that our eyeglasses are made out of. This is what Grandpa told me anyways. And that the front shield on a motorcycle is made out of. So like, and the fellow that makes these has tossed them out of a hotel room window, as the story goes, from several stories up. And they did not break as they hit the ground. Now, you know your typical acrylic rulers, we're going to smash to bits if you did that type of thing. So that is the one first great feature about these rulers. It also has this slider which moves from right to left, and whenever I'm cutting strips, I set it at the width that I'm after. So then this little lip prevents my fabric from shuffling around underneath the ruler. Further to that, we've got a non-slip grip along the edges, both edges, which is really handy. So this prevents the ruler from moving to the right or from the left. The rulers also have a finger guard, which gives me peace of mind, because when I'm cutting, sometimes my fingers slip. And further to all of that, it's got this great little add-on handle, which I think is just a dream for picking my rulers up and putting them back down. Now, I know it's 6 by 12. You're wondering if there's a larger one. And what we do for this cool little modular ruler is we bring out this other handle that has got alignment on it, and I can connect the rulers end to end. I can connect them side by each. I could put 3 of them together and have a square here with an extended arm and really square up the edges of my quilts. So these rulers are really great because they've got a lot of versatility. So that's my little pitch on that. Right? And then there's the add-ons that we are using. Thank you, Landon, as a reminder. These make up our seam allowances for us. So I know that my finished size of each column is 3 inches. So instead of trying to factor in the seam allowance, I don't have to do any math. These eliminate all the math. So I can cut out squares, half square triangles, and quarter square triangles without figuring out all that fussy math. Nor do I have to waste fabric anymore because the seam allowance add-ons add the exact precise amount, and then I don't have to make my triangles big and square them down. It's a real time saver, plus it makes me more precise. So I hope that covers it all. Did I get it all? Good. Okay. So if you're just joining us, welcome. My name is Bradie, and this is our mystery summer sampler. And we have got 2 more weeks after this, 11 and 12, and then we're going to put our whole lovely sampler quilt together. If you're interested in joining us, you're more than welcome to. It's not too late. You can sign up now at sparrowquiltco.com or click the link above this video and you will be able to get all the PDF patterns sent to you. I've just got them done up week by week in a single PDF format, so you can do it. They're all fairly simple, but it is also a really good skill builder type of quilt, and yeah, it will help you get really precise, I hope. You can watch back through all the tutorials and see what all my tips of the day were and all that good stuff. All right, back to my real job. Remember to share the video and come back and comment that you've shared. I'm going to send you a set of those finished size quilting ruler add-ons. Let's move along to our 3rd fabric. This is now going to be the dark pink. This time I'm only going to cut out squares. So I'm going to take off my half square triangle ruler, and I'm going to add on my square ruler. I know that it's square because it's got a little S on it, and the seam allowance is a half. And I'm sure some of you are thinking, but you know, the squares are easy to figure out. I don't really need, but why think about it? Just add it on. Just makes it simple. I'm a big fan of keeping it simple, especially when I eat too much sugar. I'm not going to cut a big full wide strip off of this one. I'm just going to take a narrow strip. I already started cutting off this one funny yesterday, so I'm just going to continue cutting it funny. Where's everybody watching from today? Tell me about your weather. Maybe I'll come for a visit. Whoever's got the hottest weather, I'm coming for a visit. I was researching hot destinations yesterday. I need some sun on my skin. All right. So now I've just folded that strip in half so I can cut 2 squares at a time. I actually need 4 squares. I should have cut 2 strips. That's okay. I still got time. I still got fabric too. All right, so those 2 squares are going to be in my outer corners. Now let's cut 1 more strip. Ooh! That sounds pretty hot. Have you got storms though? I don't want storms. I'm not interested in storms. I don't want to get blown away on vacation. Anybody here from North Carolina? Are things looking better down there? There was a big old storm. Oh, hi, Kathy from Chilliwack. I know who you are. Is it Kathy Cameron? Yeah. Hi, Kathy Cameron. Ooh, California, here I come.
It's 34 degrees, but I'm guessing that's cold. But that's cold. Maybe not. That's like what it is here. Huh?
So cold. Lana's just telling me about someone in Alaska who's got 34 degrees Fahrenheit. So she says, so I think that's cold. Oh, wait, just like here, it's cold. Yep, it's cold. Alrighty, my darlings, we are moving on to our white background fabric. You can use whatever color background fabric you want. It's your quilt. Sometimes if you use black as a background fabric, it can make your bright fabrics really pop. I don't know if you guys have seen my photo in the Sparrow Quilt Co. Daily group of the applique that I started. I did these bright, big pink lollipop flowers on a black background. Wow, I just was shocked. I was so disappointed when I laid it out on white fabric. I was like, meh, no, it's a lot of work. And it was just kind of meh. So then I thought, I'm going to try this on black. Oh, it was fabulous. So try it. You'll love it. White background. We're going to cut our triangles first. So let's remove our square ruler. We're going to put on the half square triangle ruler. Like I said earlier, it's 0.854 of an inch seam allowance. That doesn't exist on our typical rulers. So if we just add that on, then we are able to eliminate the step of drawing that diagonal line on the back, and we're able to eliminate the step of having to trim our triangles in half. We also can eliminate the step of trimming our triangles down to the proper size because we had to cut them too big. So like I said, it's really a time saver when you use this little set of rulers. Time savers are a good thing. You know, I have 10 children. Only 8 of them live at home now, but still my time that I get to quilt is precious. So when I am getting down to the job, I want to do it in the fastest, most efficient way possible. All right, so let's go ahead and cut this strip at the 3-inch mark plus our half square triangle ruler. Oh, so I should leave it on display. That is extra. We're going to unfold this and turn it in half. And we need 4 squares at 3 inches plus the add-on. So you quilters at home are going to cut yours at 4. If you don't have the add-ons, you're going to use your regular rulers. Cut these at 4 and then you'll trim them down to 3.5 after. I've got my fabric folded in half, so I'm cutting 2 squares at once. There's 2, and here's 4. And then these again, I'm going to turn them and cut them on the diagonal just once. There's no quarter triangles in this one. I like to stack those up so I can cut them all at the same time. Again, I'm maybe being a little bit lazy, maybe I'm just being really efficient. It depends how you look at it. I like to say efficient. All right, so those are all my half square triangles that are going to go as the background fabrics all around there. Now I need to cut my solid white background squares. So those, we're going to change this little guy again. Gotcha. I'm just giving this a press because there's a bit of a crease in there. Make it lay flat so that I can cut accurately. All right, let's put our square back on. Okay. So, did any of you watch last Friday for the new Stash Busters quilt? We've been working on the shuffle quilt, and I've been using some Christmas fabrics, which are super cute. I got to get cutting though, because I'm not done cutting out, and I want to get sewing this week. So my strip is still cut at the right width for half square triangles. I've now changed to my square add-on. So this piece I'm cutting off now is 3.5, but the other way it's 3.854. So I'm going to cut my 3.5 and then I'll turn it and I'll trim off that 0.354. Does that make sense, everybody? That's an extra wide strip. Now I got to turn it 90 degrees and cut the extra off that end. And that's why I had to cut wide first, and now I'm just trimming down.
Quite a few people are watching.
Sorry?
Quite a few people are watching Friday. Laura says she wants to start cutting.
Oh, I'm glad you guys are joining along. It's a super simple quilt. The first time I made it, I did it in a day. So that just goes to show you how simple it is, and it's big. It's 72 by 72 or 75, some 70 something. It's big. But to be able to make a quilt that size in one day is pretty awesome. Pardon me. Sorry, guys. Pardon me. All right, so there's my last couple background squares. Now we can set all our little ruler doodads aside. Otherwise, I get too much stuff on my table and I can't handle it. Get all that stuff out of here. All right. Yay. Make sure you share a picture with us, Pam. I want to see what you're using. Okay, so those are a little bit lumpy. I'm going to press them. Aw. Well, to those of you who did miss it, don't worry. It gets recorded as we film it, so you can go back and watch it later. Yay. I'm glad you went back and watched it later. Thank you, Cheryl. So, dark pink in the outer corners. Blue is my wing. And I'm keeping my block handy so that I can see my layout. I need that reference, otherwise I will go really quickly in the wrong direction. Did I cut 4 of those or only 2? You guys, did I only cut 2 white squares? Weren't you guys watching me? Nope. All right, well, let's just bring that white strip back. Let's try this again. And the ruler. And the cutter. It's okay. Yeah, I remember now. I only did 2. It's okay. See? This is what sugar does to your brain. Bradie's brain on sugar. Do you ever have those times when you do so good, like you eliminate something from your diet, such as sugar, and then when you fall off the wagon, you're like, just like, ah. That's me today. In the background, I don't think there's any Christmas. Nope. No Christmas today. Not today. But I will be showing you guys these pretty ones a little bit later. Okay, now we're for sure done with our cutting. So let's get this stuff out the way. Laura says she cuts extra just in case, and I think that's pretty wise at the moment. Okay, so my little pinwheel in the center is going to be green. And this is the part that messes with me a little bit, so I have to check my reference or have your pattern handy so that you can see the layout of your block. I always just need some sort of visual reference. It really helps me a lot. Okay. I think I like this colorway even better than my pinks and reds. Lay out one more little wing over here. Is that correct? Yes. And this one goes like this. We got two more little halfies. This is really pretty, if I do say so myself. Let's put in these little cornerstones, nice and bright pink. And this is a white. And then this is a blue wing. Oh yeah, that's awesome. My lips are gonna crack off and fall right off. I just gotta get some chapstick. Sorry guys. I'm taking a personal care moment. Ah. That's what happens in the wintertime. I become a chapstick addict. Although Burt's Bees is my preference. I don't use real chapstick. But it's one of those names, chapstick, it's a company name that just became a general term for every item like that. Like Kleenex. Kleenex is a brand name, but we have just come to call all tissue paper Kleenex. It's kind of a weird phenomenon. Oh, thank you. I like the colors too. They do pop. Good. I'm glad you can see them. That's always my goal, to use bright, vibrant stuff so that you can see the visual impact. All right. So my layout looks good. Now I need to sew all these little half square triangle units together. And you can see how much smaller they're going to become because this is the size that we're after. So I'm going to stitch all those out and then I'll lay them back out where they belong. And then we can assemble our entire block. Let's move this over a wee bit. Oh, I should have slid. Got my little toolbox underneath there just in case there's anything I need. I want to try and bring my ironing board a little bit closer. So let's shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Okay, we're getting there. Got this. All right. I know I should be ashamed of myself, huh? What a temptress with all this fabric behind me. All right. Oh, yes, this is a wool pressing mat that I've got my iron on. It is, I'm really liking these little pressing mats. It's nice to have it just right here beside me. I'm a big fan of chain piecing, so I'm just going to chain piece all these little units together, and then I'll press them all. And I always press towards the darker fabric so that I don't have to see my seam allowance behind my white fabric. There we go. Just chipping away at all these little half square triangles. Does the Sparrow 30 come with the extension table? It does. Yeah, it comes with the machine, which is really great. And you know what else? For being such an affordable machine, it comes with a thread cutter, which to me is just shocking. I still can't get over it. It's got a lot of great features. It's got over 310 or over 300 stitches. I believe it's 310. 2 full alphabets. Thank you. I'm not little, but I'm not big either. My pressing mat, I think, is 18.5 square. Yeah, that's bigger than 12. It's 18.5 inches square and it's 1/2 inch thick, which means I can use it on any surface. There are some bigger ones that are meant to be used on a pressing surface. Like you would lay it out over your ironing board, or maybe you've got one of those really big boards. I have one of those too. And so the thinner ones need to be used on a proper pressing surface. But this one I can just put right on my table. I would not put it on my rotary cutting mat though, okay guys? Please remember that. Just in case. It's porous, like there's no hard surface on the bottom to prevent the heat from leaving the item. Pardon? No, I don't use the acorn when I'm just lining up flat pieces of fabric. I will use the precision glue when I'm lining up seams. To me, it just feels redundant to do it at this point. Like it's just a waste of my time. I can line up corners just fine. But lining up seams so that they stay accurate under the feed dogs, that's where I'm going to use my precision piecing system. Landon, I'm sorry to ask, would you go out to that long arm table, the front one, and there's a box of Kleenex there? And just get me a tissue. Oh, you have some there? Ah, better yet. Thank you, darling. Don't you love Kleenex boxes? They're always so pretty. Pardon me, guys. I'm a mess today. Sneezing, wiping my nose, all sugared up. No wonder I'm getting sick. The sugar's suppressing my immune system. All right. Thank you, Marianne. I am really pleased with this set of blocks. How bright and pretty they are. It does not come with a walking foot, but you know what? The walking foot's really affordable. I think it's around $35 Canadian. So to outfit this machine fully is not very expensive. You'd have to also add the free motion quilting foot, and that's called the embroidery or darning foot sometimes. But the machine itself comes with 7 feet. Those are the only 2 other ones I would recommend adding on. I love extension tables. I think it's really nice to have that extra surface just to support everything. Sometimes it's a struggle just to keep everything up. So I really do like the extension table. You can also get an even larger one, but like I said, it comes with this little one, so that is such a benefit. Oh, that was Marge, you said? So Marge is mentioning that with the wool pressing mat, if you steam, that's what's going to press through, but the heat alone, pardon me, won't necessarily go through all the layers. So I really appreciate you pointing that out, Marge, because it's a good point. When our iron steams, it really forces that steam out. So that is what would travel through the layers and warp our rotary cutting mats, which we don't want, right? All right. I think I've got it now. Okay. So I have got my little Easy Press pen, and I have filled it with the Easy Press solution. What I'm going to do is press all these pieces, then I run this solution along the seam, and I press it once more, and it just makes things even flatter. This block, are they on the small camera or the big? So I'll get Landon to switch to a close-up in a minute here of this block, and then we'll compare them side by each. This has been pressed, but then I'll show you how it looks after I press these items, and it really, really flattens very, very effectively. And it makes a difference, you know, it makes a difference in our accuracy if we have sort of this, it's not fluff, but it doesn't like flatten entirely. And we kind of lose some of our measurement if things aren't entirely flat. So there's a real benefit to pressing and pressing well. I like to layer my pressing up on top of each other as I go. That bottom piece just gets some extra work, we're going to call it, if I continue to just layer everything on top of it. And you can see that I've got my darker fabric on top, so all my seams are pressing towards that darker fabric. I'm just so oh yes, okay. So Landon's just reminding me to remind you to share the video, please, everybody. If you've never done that before, just look below the video. You'll see the options to like, to comment, and to share. Just hit that share button. You can write a little message there if you like. And then that just shares the video with your Facebook friends. Then come back here and make sure that you comment that you've shared, and that makes it much easier for us to find you. If you've got, say, a private profile, then we can't see when you share. All right, now I'm going to go over these again. I'm going to do 2 at a time. So I just give it a little dab, and then I spread the liquid across. It kind of depresses, the tip of it pushes in, kind of spring-loaded, and that makes the liquid come out, the tip, and then I just press it again. And I don't want gobs of liquid to come out, right? I just want it to be a small amount. The very first time I used it, I over-applied it, and I had a slight crusty, like it flaked, the solution dried and kind of flaked up. But if you're a little more sparse with your application of the liquid, then it does not become excess or flake off of your fabric. Nor am I getting any buildup on my iron. So I know you're all wondering. I don't blame you. I don't like crap on my iron either. I rarely use steam. The question was, do I ever use steam? If I've got some deep, deep wrinkles and I just can't get them out, then I might use some steam. I might spritz it with a bit of water. I try not to use steam because I do not pre-wash my fabrics. So when I enter damp hotness, that makes your fabric shrink up. So I avoid it, to be perfectly honest. I think, oh, is the liquid like a starch is the question? I think it is. Now, and I've preached to you guys before that I don't normally use starch. I'm not noticing any shrinkage as a result of this. So that's why I'm using it, because I really do like the flatness. All right. So can you switch to that smaller camera for me for a second? So I'm hopeful that you can kind of see the state of this block, how it is not flat, although it has been pressed. And now I'm going to show you how these pieces that I just did, they are so flat, like really flat. So can you? Good, I'm glad. So this is just regular pressing on my wool mat with my little iron, and this is pressing using that Easy Press pen, and it just makes things a lot flatter, which is going to make your piecing turn out more accurate. Yes, it is. Someone's asking, is this the new product from Shelley and Bernie? I don't know how to say the last name, Tobish, I believe, but it's Acorn Precision Piecing System, and it comes with a glue applicator as well, so that you can line up your seams and line up to be really precise in your piecing. I didn't use that, but I'll show you that in a minute here. Okay, so my outer little wings are blue. So let's lay this all out again. Make sure we're staying on track. This guy goes here. This is here. Now my squares look much better. They are just the right size. They don't look like they're going to overpower all those little squares any longer. Oh, good. Thank you, Kathy. Apparently they were just here in Edmonton at a show that was last weekend. I wish I'd known that. I probably would have gone down to meet them, but it was a busy weekend for me anyways. All right, so this is looking really good. Now I need to sew this together in rows. Again, I'm not going to use the glue for this step either. I'll use it for the next step when I'm joining my rows to one another. When I want those intersections to line up nicely, that's when I'll get fussy with that. So for now, I'm just going to sew these little units together in pairs. And I typically do not cut off my dog ears. Thank you for that question. You can, though. If it bothers you, you certainly can. The dog ears are just those little triangles that stick up right there out of the seams. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It depends how much time I have, I guess. They put a lot of extra bulk into your seams, so you can take them out. So this is Landon. She's just documenting my process. Oh, wow. So the comment is that Shelley, who designed this precision piecing system, taught her how to hand quilt over 20 years ago. That's just amazing to me how quilting really has withstood the test of time. And it has been so revolutionized, quilting. Like, it really, really is amazing to me, the tools that have been innovated for quilters. We'd never quilt today if we still had to do it the old ways. Well, there's still, sorry, I shouldn't say that, because there's a lot of people who still do a lot of traditional hand piecing or cutting out with templates and that sort of thing. But not all of us have the time to do it like that. Oh, you thought Landon was a boy, Joyce? Landon has a boy's name, just like her mother. Just like her mother, who swore she would never give her daughters a boy name.
Oh, what was the new name? I don't know if you knew that it was going to be a boy's name, but I have met no other.
And I've met no other female Bradies. She says, I've never met another female Landon. So I can totally relate to that. All right, at this point, I'm not going to press my seams because I like to alternate the rows so that they go in different directions. And so I usually don't press my seams at this point. I'll do it once I sew the two rows to each other. And that is just my way of doing it. If you are organized enough to know this row that way, but back and forth, then press it as you go. But I always mess it up if I do it before, so that's just how I'm going to do it. These little colors and polka dots are just so cute. Definitely going to have to hang this quilt in the shop once she's all done. I've been trying to think ahead a little bit, and am I going to put sashing in between? Should I maybe do a keyboard kind of border? Multicolors, bring in all the colors that I used. What's that?
Heather says that she's expecting a new nephew, that he's going to be named Vlad.
Oh.
He'll be here in December.
Aw. A new nephew, huh, Heather? That's pretty precious. Congratulations. But it's funny that they're going to name him Landon. Oh, sure. Oh, my goodness. That's a lot of Donnas. Donna, Bobana. Okay, let's put these back where they belong so Bradie knows what she's doing. Make sure that everything is laid out correctly, and I'm going to do that by referencing back to my other block. Can I see a pinwheel in the center? Yes, I can. Okay, so now we'll finish up these rows. And then we can join the rows to each other and we'll be done. And then we get to look at fabric. Pretty new fabric. It's almost time to do another tour up front as well, because I got a whole bunch up there as well. So you guys make sure you have shared the video so that you can be entered to win our giveaway. You're just going to click the share button below the video and then come back and tell us that you've shared. And don't forget to join us on Friday morning. We do videos at 10:30 on Friday mornings as well. It is the Stash Buster series. So more free patterns, which you can get by signing up at sparrowquiltco.com. And did we decide we are going to do an auction on Saturday, yeah? This Saturday? Are we able to organize ourselves well enough? What's that? Oh, yeah. We're not going to pick up his voice. Okay, so we're probably going to do an auction on Saturday morning. And again, that will be at 10:30. And we'll post that. But all the stuff you see behind me will be in there. I got a whole pile of wide backs that need to go there. Okay, Elaine, please check your email. The pattern should be coming there shortly. If you don't see it in your regular email, check your spam folder too. Sometimes we land in the spam folder. What color will I put on the back of this quilt? That is a good question. There's no orange in the quilt. That's a good suggestion, actually. I don't know. I may have to get you guys to help me pick a backing fabric. What's that? Rumpelstiltskin. I like it, actually. So Annabelle is asking if you need a credit card to participate in the auction. Yes, you'll need to be able to purchase things online. You can purchase through PayPal as well, so you can put your credit card in the system that way if that's your preference. All righty, let's finish this block up, shall we? I'm going to get out my handy dandy glue. So this is the first part of the precision Acorn precision piecing system. Are we on the big camera? Okay, so you can see I've got this little glue bottle and there's a refill for this and for the pen that I showed you earlier. And it's just got this really fine applicator tip. So it's just like a straw made of metal and the glue just comes out. when the glue comes out, it just comes out in these little dots. It's just so perfect. It just applies exactly where you want it. And if you find that any glue gets stuck in that applicator tip, just run it under some hot water. Take the lid off, run it under some hot water, and push a pin through. That'll force all the glue out of the stem, and you'll be able to use your glue freely once again. I think what I'm going to do is press these as I go because I'm probably going to get better results. So I'll just push this whole bottom row. I'm going to press all my seams to the right. Even if they're going to show under the white fabric, it's okay. I probably won't die. I'll just be dramatic as usual. One of my kids was being so dramatic the other day, and I thought, yeah, you come by that honestly. It's probably my fault that you're acting like this right now. Oh, I like Jamie's idea. Jamie, you said? Jamie's suggesting to put strips of the different fabrics I used as my backing, which would actually look fantastic. I could do like a rainbow. I think I'd have to put in some strips of white too, especially if I did a keyboard border, and then the back would match that on a wider scale. Okay. I'm going to bring my pressing pad over here for a moment so that you guys can see what I'm doing. I need to press the glue after I apply it, so I want my pressing pad over here. I got to use it on my rotary mat. So let's just do it quick. This is an example of do as I say, not as I do. Are we on the smaller camera? Please? Okay. So I've got my 2 rows. This row is just going to flip over on here, and I'm going to sew along this top edge. But first I'm going to take my little glue applicator, and I'm going to dab glue on either side of each seam. And then I'm going to bring that piece and put it on top, and I'll press it to set the glue, and that's going to keep my intersection lined up. I like to hold this little guy so it doesn't flop around. Okay, so first we're going to clean the applicator tip. There's nothing coming out of her. Let's see now. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to dab the glue on, and then I'm going to show you how it comes out. I'll bring it up closer to the camera so you can see those perfect little, it's like a little globe of glue. Maybe. I might do session. Can you see those little dabs of glue? Do you see how perfect and little round it is? It just sits there. Like, I've picked this up and moved it around even, and it still just sits there in that perfect little globe. I love it. It's just the right viscosity, I think, is. So now I'm going to take that little intersection, and I'm going to line it up right over top. I'm making sure that those 2 fabrics in the seam are just kissing inside. They're just touching. I don't want them to overlap. I just want them to touch. And then my intersection is going to be perfect. And hopefully my points of my pinwheel will also be perfect. So I'm going to hold all that in place and give it a quick little press. Hey? Yeah, it sets the glue. That one came off, so I just got to put it back in place. Put that back in place, and then let's press it real quick. Give it a little zap. All right. So now this glue is not set in stone, so to speak. Just got to check my rotary mat for damage. If I needed to rip this apart now, it would come right apart. I like to just kind of look at it from the top and make sure that my seams are nicely lined up, and they are beautifully, in fact. So now I'm just going to quickly stitch along this seam, and then we'll open it up and make sure that it is nice and bang on. And finish strong, remember, make sure those last little corners are lined up nicely. So the benefit to this glue is that I don't have to sew over pins. Like, I've really had a lot of comments from you all that, you know, don't sew over pins or be careful sewing over pins. So now I don't have to, because that can make your intersections really bulky. So this is nice because I can be accurate without having to worry about pins breaking and whatnot, or breaking needles. Okay, these look really good. So I'm just pressing this seam, and then I will give you a nice little peek. So look here, see this little intersection? I gotta get behind. That turned out pretty good. This one's not too bad. That's floating just a touch, but at least it's not cut off. So that's how I was able to line up my intersections really, really well, but without pins. Okay, so let's do these next 2 rows. This row is all pressed to the left. So this next row, I want to press these all to the right. And this is what I was talking about, alternating the direction so that your seams can nest in the seam allowance, reducing bulk and making your blocks look really fantastic. And I can come back over later with my Easy Press pen and do all the seams that I've not done yet. And then that will give my block a really nice, flat, crisp look. Some of these blocks back here, I used it, like this one is so flat because I used my Easy Press pen on it. Whereas the rest of them are just, they've just got a little bit of curl to the seam. Lennon says, that's what's up with that one. It's just so flat, right? Now this top row has to be pressed to the left. This last row I press to the right. This next one goes to the left. And we just alternate those directions. Bricks. Oh, like cut all my fabrics into bricks? That would be pretty cool too, actually. Sounds like a little bit of work. I'm all about pulling a wide back off the shelf, not pressing it, throwing it on the frame and getting her done. Okay, so again, I'm at the point now where I need to apply the glue across that top edge, and then I can line up my seams really nice. This is probably one of our last chances to share this video, everybody. Go ahead and click the share button underneath and then come back and tell us that you've shared. And if you're joining late, make sure you click the link above this video, go to the website and enter your email address so you can get all the free PDF downloads of all the patterns, all the block patterns that you see behind me. And then there's a little video tutorial of every single block that you can follow along and just learn all the tips and tricks for making these. Not that any of them are difficult. In fact, a beginner could do this quilt. It's a really great skill builder quilt. All of the Easy Press pen is this little guy. You may have seen me use it before. I just run it over the seam and then I press it, and we suspect it's some kind of starch that's in there, and it just flattens your seams beautifully, and it makes your piecing super, super accurate, which is a really good thing. Okay, so now we're going to line up these seams again. I'm just going to put that right there. I think I'm going to press them as I go this time. And then I don't have to come back to it. then it's just done like dinner. Oh, there she is talking about food again, probably getting hungry. Yeah, because I had no nutrition this morning. All I had was sugar.
Is your easy press pen?
That's not true. I had oatmeal for breakfast. Len is just going to give you a little close-up there of the Easy Press pen. And then I'll show you how it works in a minute here. Okay. So I've glued all those intersections. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew it all together. I like to keep a little piece of fabric nearby so I can just wipe off the tip of my little glue applicator here. I don't like it when the glue dries up on it, because I'm fussy. All right, so let's sew this together now. And then we just have one more seam before I show you all my pretty fabrics. There we go. Hold it nice and straight over that last little bit, because there's a corner seam there on the diagonal, which will always try and wiggle around. So hold it strong. Set that seam first, and then we'll open her up. Oh, beautiful. Just beautiful. All right, so again, my points are all lined up really, really, really nicely. Now I'm just going to quickly show you how I use that Easy Press pen. Are we on the smaller screen still? Okay. So as I was telling you, there is a tip on it, and it kind of presses in. And you can see mine's getting a little bit of fluff or lint on it. These tips are replaceable. You can buy replacements. When you buy the whole system on the website there, I've got the pen, the glue bottle, replacements for both fluids, and replacement tips for your Easy Press pen. So the whole system is there in a little baggie. And it comes to you in the mail. Nice little package, keep you nice and precise. So what I'm going to do is I start at one end and I just kind of depress the tip. I'm doing it for each kind of section. And then the liquid that comes out on that initial press, I smear it across the whole piece. And then I'm going to come back and just do a little bit of pressing. And then we'll look at these two side by each and see the difference between them. All right, so this one has been just done with my Easy Press pen. This one has just been pressed regular. So you can see how this one looks flatter. And now I'm going to go across that one. Let's just turn this whole thing around so we don't go wrong. Now I'm going to do this seam here and press it again. Just making sure my pressing mat's not getting hot underneath there. And again, I'm not squeezing out too much of this stuff. I don't want to have a residue on my iron from it. You don't need to press it too long. I maybe count to 3 or 4. All right, there it is. Nicely pressed. So let's go ahead and stitch that very last seam. This again is just going to come over top. Let's apply some glue on this bottom row at our intersections, a little blob on either side. Hi, Sheila. Sue! Oh my God, you guys, Sue Patton is here.
You're filming?
Yes, I am.
Well, I'm in Edmonton with
Good to
bright
see you.
orange hair.
So good.
Every time I visit, I get my hair done here.
Yeah.
And something bizarre happens.
No way.
Do you remember the last time when
Yeah.
they shaved me and I had white spots?
I do remember.
This is supposed to be auburn. Or clown red.
It looks awesome,
Yeah,
though.
looks good,
I
right?
like it.
I have a present for you.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Cool.
So I thought I would leave one with you. That's the domestic thickness.
Sure, yeah, a little bit thinner, eh?
Yeah, the
Cool.
1/8 inch. We're doing them in the 1/4 inch as well.
Yeah.
Your shop looks freaking awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're
And you
pretty
have a
proud.
kitchen.
I know.
I want a
That's why I
kitchen.
wanted it.
Nice. So when did you guys actually move to this location?
May 1st.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And are
Yep.
you closer to home then? Because you guys moved.
We did move. We moved south of the city about 5 kilometers, so it's not even far. But the kids are still in the city. Yeah.
Right.
So we're like 3 minutes from the school, which is kind of nice.
Oh, that's what, and everyone's good?
Yes. Yes.
Good.
Fantastic.
Good.
Yeah.
And business is good?
Yeah. Yeah. It's getting
Good.
busier. We're getting back into quilting season, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just got a shop.
Good for you.
Oh. 2 more years, I think, and then I'm going to
Start doing your own thing. Good. Yeah.
and Michael has his business. Years, nobody will need me to be
Yeah.
on the road 24/7. They can just support me for the next 50 years. Or
Wouldn't that be
10.
great?
Now,
But you're teaching here. We're getting sound through the app, guys. Oh, did you just refresh the app? So hopefully this will reconnect it all. My big fat face right up in the camera. How are we doing now, guys? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me again? We're good? Thanks, Elle, for picking up for me. What's that? All right, guys, I'm hoping that you can hear me now. What's that? We have sound. We're for sure good. Okay. All right. So we are going on almost 2 hours of video today. My goodness, this has been a long one. So what did you show so far?
We went over this line.
Nice.
Most of all of this line, and then we got about 3/4 of the way through here, and now they're upset that I didn't finish, but you should finish your block because they take you.
You've been waiting for the block. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Thank you so much to Landon for keeping you all busy while I was visiting with a friend. Thank you, honey. So this stuff here to the left has not been shown yet, is that right? Oh, these are cute.
Who made this mess?
I know, Stephanie, right? Who made this big mess? Do you guys remember that show, The Big Comfy Couch? Did any of your kids watch that show? Oh, it was me. And then we need to do the 10-second tidy. That's funny. Probably none of you have even seen that show, and I just sound like a crazy person. Oh, okay. Oh my goodness. Did Papa come in and show you that? So I have to show you all this. So my dad works in the back, as you may or may not know. And he brought in this little Christmas ornament today, and he said, "Do you know who made this?" And I said, "I'm going to guess Landon." And he said, "Look what happens when your parents give you too long of a name." So I hope you can see that Landen. It just starts trickling down the side of the little ornament. So he brought that in for Landon to see, and I thought maybe you all would get a kick out of that. It is so precious. So thanks to my dad for keeping that. All right, my darlings, let's quickly finish up this block, and then we'll get back to some pretty fabric. My little dots, I just rubbed one off of there, but it was still sitting there like a little tiny ball of glue. Just waiting patiently. So I'm going to go ahead and reapply my glue at all these little intersections, and then we will lay out those 2 layers, and we will stitch this baby up. Like I said, I just like to wipe off the top of that glue before I put the lid on, so then the lid won't get glued on. And we're going to take this top piece, and we're going to set it on top. I'm going to make sure those seams are lined up really nice. Oh, I unplugged my iron already. Hopefully it's still hot enough that it will set my glue for me. And my seams are going in opposite directions, so when I lay it down, it just lays so nice and flat, which is exactly what I was hoping for. And then this last seam, we're gonna glue that in place, and then we'll set it with glue. Did you guys see any fabrics that you liked?
Look at all those yellowy orange fabrics behind you. Oh, those? I don't know who knows those ones.
That set might be what you've got in your hands there.
Oh, yeah. Those are the ones that are. Now, these look oranger on camera, but they're brown and green.
Oh, do they?
Kinda,
that tapestry line.
Yeah.
So that far collection is Tapestry by Fig Tree. This next one here is called A Chance of Flowers, and that one's by Sandy Gervais. Just raise it on up so I can stand. Oh my goodness. Raise your hand if you love Moda. Me. You didn't pick a winner or anything yet, did you? Okay. All right, we will show fabrics in just 2 minutes here. Let me finish up my block. I'm doing the most awkward squat while I try and sew this. I'm exercising while I sew today, guys. Building my quads and my butt. It's now turned into a bit of a lunge. Don't laugh if I fall to the ground. Oh. So all these lovelies, you guys, we're going to put them in the auction this weekend. We're going to... Oh, okay.
Just like, or these are yards? These are yards.
Yes, yeah, this is all from an American shop, so it's all yards, not meters. So they'll be a little bit smaller than we normally do, but that's okay. It's still lots of beautiful fabric. Let's quickly use our Easy Press pen and do the center seam. And I won't do all the seams and keep you hostage, but let's quickly press that. And then you can see my pretty little block. It almost looks Eastery. All right, there is my block. I love how bright and vibrant it is. I like it even better than this one that I did cut out yesterday and sewed this morning. But I think it's going to go perfectly in with my prior blocks. It's going to look fantastic. I have doubles of several, so we might end up making my quilt a little bit bigger. And that's okay. You can make doubles too. Because you know what? It's your quilt. You can do whatever you want. Put the whole thing together? Yeah, I can just use my first. Thank you. It's shocking how different they turn out when you use different fabrics, isn't it? Shocking. All right, let's get this over here, out the way. Let's stand up that glue so it doesn't cause trouble. All right, who wants to see the rest of this line? So, are you gonna put onto the smaller camera then? Is that how you were doing it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've done, this is your third collection that you've shown?
Yep.
Okay.
And I did not get all the way through.
Okay, so the stuff that's closer to me is not yet done. All right. So this line, do you guys know the ombre line of fabrics that's done by Moda? That designer is V & Co. So this is just one of her earlier lines. And you can almost, she's got kind of a consistent style. It's always very modern, very geometric, and really fabulous colors. So I am always really drawn to.
Stephanie used the card trick block as the center of the Christmas runner.
Oh, that's a good idea, Stephanie. It's really got great visual impact, doesn't it? Stephanie's just telling us that she used the card trick block, which was the first block we did, as the center on a table runner, and I bet that would really look fantastic. Yay! I'm so thrilled that you used that for a project. Oh, my goodness. All right. So, any questions before I move on to fabric? Does anybody have any questions about the block? Now that I have come back and we finished that up, does anybody have any questions about that specifically before we move on? The glue and the press pen. So the glue is this tiny little bottle. I'm actually going to stand behind the camera because then I can see what you see. Oh, low battery. We are losing power here fast. 3%. Okay. Good. Okay, you can see again. So you're switched over to this camera?
Yep.
This is the seam align glue, and it just comes in that little bottle, and I just sew all the parts together so that you can have everything you need. You can see it's got that nice fine applicator tip, and that's what allows us to apply it in those nice little globes of glue.
Cute.
So that is what you use to hold your fabrics together, and then you just press it quickly with your iron, and that will do this will do the work of your pins. All right? Acorn Precision Piecing products. And then the second step is this Easy Press pen. And again, I have filled it with the solution that is for pressing. And it's got this applicator tip. They're calling this a nib. So that tip can actually come out and be replaced, because you can see that it gets a little bit of fluff, lint, or fuzz on it. And it just probably gets pretty grubby. But you're going to actually press that down, and that's what causes the fluid to come out. And you just rub it across your seam, and then again you're going to press it, and it just makes everything nice and flat. And especially if you like to work on really small projects, you do a lot of tiny piecing, this is really ideal for that, because every little thread of width that you lose impacts your final project, impacts your final product. So you definitely want your blocks to be as flat as possible and as close to their desired finish size. All right. So I have a winner for my seam allowance add-on rulers. So winner, when I tell you I need you to send me a private message, you're going to send me your name, your phone number, your email address, and your shipping address. And I want you to also say that I won the Finish Size Quilting add-on rulers, okay? And my winner today is Olive Goheen. Congratulations, Olive. Everybody congratulate Olive. Olive has been a really loyal watcher of our show, so I'm very happy that she was our winner today. Again, congratulations, Olive. All right. What's that? Yeah, do you guys want to see the fabric? Or are you just done with me? You want to go have some lunch? All right, let's do it, shall we? Okay. So as I was saying, this line is called Color Me Happy, and it certainly makes me happy. It's got some of my favorite colors in it. This piece right here has got a nice white background. There we go. And it's got tiny dots, and you guys know how I feel about that. So some of those dots are a pink, amber, a green, a gray, a chocolate brown. Oh, maybe it's not chocolate. It might be kind of purple. And then there's a soft aqua in there, almost minty kind of color as well. Just lovely. So lovely. Oh my. Isn't that pretty? So it's actually on my screen, it looks really accurate, the color. The background is kind of a light teal. And then we've got little oval kind of spots in green, navy, and white. Very pretty. Oh, thank you. I always like this kind of print that looks like you could kind of maybe color it a little bit and add your own touch to those flowers. So we got a white background, kind of a light teal or aqua dot, and some beautiful florals. Just such a pretty line. Ooh, that's kind of a beaded curtain kind of look there, hey? Oh, so we got another one of the beaded curtains, and this one's on like a mint colored background. The strings of beads are navy, green, kind of a goldy green. Maybe that's like an aloe. Navy. I think I said that already. So that one is really pretty. This line has a lot of really interesting prints in it. Yes, Joyce, I agree. That would be a great border fabric because the florals are nice and big. So you don't want to cut it too small. You kind of lose the print in it. So we saw this print a moment ago, but here we are in a different colorway. So we've got like a bubblegum pink background, and the ovals this time are in grays, olive, and white. And those little ovals are kind of set in sets of 9. It almost looks like an off-kilter 9 patch. An oval 9 patch. Here's that same print again, but on a gray background. And this time we have a green, navy, and white oval 9 patch. Getting a bit creative here on the descriptions of those little shapes. I know, Moda's lines are always humongous. How many prints, I wonder? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 5, 6, 7, 8, 29, 31, 32 prints in this line. So my question for you guys is, I personally am a big bundle buyer. Like, I want every print in the line. So would you want to see these in like their 1 yard cuts sold individually? Or do you think you would buy all 32 in a 1 yard cut? Would that be like an obscene amount of fabric? Never. This one is that same dot I showed you a moment ago, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a repeat. So white background with all those multicolored dots. A little bit of each color that's in the whole fabric line. This time our 9-patch ovals are navy on a green background and navy and white ovals, but on a bright, vibrant green. These dots are limited to shades of pink and red on a white background again. Almost makes the background look a little bit pink. I wonder if it is actually. Maybe. I can't quite tell if the background's a bit pink or if it's just white and all the dots just make it look pink. Does it? I think it might have a drop of pink in the white. Ooh. So here we've got a green beaded curtain. What are you laughing at? Just send it along. Oh, I wish I had figured this out ahead of time. The full yardage needed for this quilt, because I was designing these as I went, I didn't have the forethought to plan out how much yardage. So what I've been recommending is that you have a yard of 5 different prints and a couple of yards of white background fabric. Hopefully that'll leave you with enough to do some sashings and borders. But it's only 12 blocks. It's not going to be huge. So I think that will be more than enough fabric to get you through it. I'm sorry, that is definitely a step that I will have in place for next time. Are there 42 in a layer cake? Yes. Stephanie, a layer cake is 42 10-inch squares. Yeah, at least the Moda ones are like that. So this is our white background. Video's bad?
Yeah. It's just that iPad. Let's switch to the other one. I'll move it closer.
Okay. Sorry guys, Landon says the quality of that video got a little bit poor there. So we're gonna switch to the other camera. And I'm just gonna hold them up like this. Hopefully you'll be able to see it well enough. So you can just bring it in closer. So this one we got a white background and a multicolored dot. These colors are stronger. The last ones I would say were pastel. These ones are like bright. We've got navy, we've got purple, we've got a fuchsia, there's an amber, there's a gray, an aqua, but the prints are just, or the colors are just stronger in comparison to that. Gotcha. So there they are, side by each. Maybe it was pouting. The camera thought it was working too hard, maybe. Oh. So it looks like that dot fabric made the iPad kind of freak out. And dots can do that to my eyes sometimes too when they're really fine like that. Sometimes really tight lines or crosshatch can do that too. So here we have varying shades of green and teals and in a chevron kind of print, lightning strike. So that one is beautiful. I got the same print again, but in pink, kind of coral and fuchsia. That could be a bit wild. It would be a fun border too, this one, because you could cut it nice and wide and just catch that movement. That would be fantastic. We're going to finish off this line with a repeat of that big floral. That would be another perfect border fabric. So a green background with white and aqua flowers, a little bit of navy floral in there as well.
I love that one. Or the pink chevron. That construction you get with high yardage in that fall film.
In that, which one?
In the whites.
By the yardage of the whites? Yeah, we're kind of pondering putting these pieces up on the website instead of, we'll sell them for a day or two and then maybe do the auction on Saturday as well. But we'll list these as well, guys, on the site, and then I will, maybe we'll just come and post on this video again, that everything is up on the site. Probably take us a good portion of the afternoon to get those all up there. But I'm really glad you guys are liking this stuff. It's always a risk, you know, as a shop owner. You start purchasing things for your shop and you hope and pray that everybody else will like them as well. So far, so good. You guys seem to have the same taste as me, so that means we're all going to be best friends forever. Either that or we're going to be fighting over fabric, one or the other. Gosh, that's a pretty pile. All right. So we can set this one aside now, and then I've got a couple more to show you. You did not show this one yet, right? This one and that one, yeah. Correct? Okay, but the other two you showed. Okay, let's put this back here. Hey, tissue, you took it back, I think. Okay, do you guys want to see the fig tree first? The fig tree first? Or do you want to see Sweetwater first? I'll bring them both up. You guys can quickly vote. So this is Sweetwater. This line is called Wishes. Or, what's the other one here? This other line is called Tapestry. I just want to make sure I grab Sweetwater first. You've got it, Donna. I'm going to bring both these piles because I suspect between the two of them, we've got everything there. Hi, Maddie boy. Yep. All right, so this is the Sweetwater line called Wishes, and it's like little parties all over the fabric. Okay, the small one. So here we have kind of a creamy yellow, butter yellow almost, and it's got all those little banners on it. I love little banners. I love the shape of them. I love their little flags. I would make every fabric line into one of these banners if I could. You know, when they stretch across the room and there's all those little triangles, I love that. I'm going to bring this closer to me and put them over here so you can see them. Next we have Apple Green, and it is a nice solid, but it almost like the weave, it's got some nice texture to it. Like it almost reads like a linen. What's that?
It looks like it's got two.
Yeah. It almost does. Like you can really see the weave in this piece, and I don't know why it's so obvious in that one, but yeah, it gives some nice texture. And here's that same background color, the kind of buttercream yellow, but a solid. So this is nice because it has all the solids built in with it as well, and we all know how well a solid can go with a busy line of prints. Just kind of grounds things a little bit, gives it some interest. Beautiful robin egg blue in solid. You guys, my lunch is here and I can smell it. It smells delicious. This reminds me of crochet lace doilies. I'm hoping you can see it. Yeah, I'm trying to hold it so that the light catches those doily looking prints on that robin egg blue background. It's just so pretty. Beautiful. So here we got the banners again. These almost make me think of little Canadian flags, but they're just little banners and flags on a stick. Ooh, this one's fun. This is like confetti on a red background. So the print is white on red. And here I've got a multicolor confetti on our nice yellow background. Oh, they do look like snowflakes too. I like that description. So this is a lattice print. So which is like a cross hatch but on an angle. And that is a nice yellow. Oh, where's that shadow coming from? There you go. You can see the lattice nicely right there. I just love how bright and happy this line of fabric is. These are like a little tiny medallion, kind of sunburst flower type thing. And then there's like a little curly Q leafy vine type of thing. I shouldn't say leafy, but it's viney. And here I've got that same print again, but on a cream or an off-white background. And this time the little vines are blue. Just nice and dainty. More of our little banners and flags, but on a red background and multicolored this time. This would make a nice, bright children's quilt. This looks a bit like words or text, but it's so celebrator. Yep, celebrate. That's what it says. Yes, Landon, I had to take my glasses off. It means I'm getting old. So the print is so, so tiny, but it's almost cursive of the word celebrate. It is tiny. Can you guys read that? Do you have to take off your glasses?